did for you?
Well, I think that's why there's a mutual respect. I know a respect from our team towards theirs. They're a really good football team, so you better be on your game, or that will happen. And so we've got nothing from the top of their franchise on down. The Hunt family to Brett Beach, the job he does. Andy, as good as it gets. I've been competing against Andy as a player. Admired him when I was a broadcaster, and now in this, and he's as good as it gets. So then they're players, fantastic. So they're a well-constructed team. You gotta be on your game to take them down.
There'd be more relevance from that game to this year than 4 years to this year.
Probably more, certainly more players that are still on each team.
Yeah.
But every year's a new year in this league, and every game's a new game. So that's the way we're approaching it.
Hey, John, did you have to make a special trip to UNLV to check out the fields?
Matt, we're here, and I'm done talking about fields. It is what it is, and our players have been tremendous, and they're going out, and that's what we're given, and so we're going to go practice to try to beat a real good football team.
And you feel like you can go full speed, like have a regular Thursday
I think we did today. We had a really good, spirited, focused practice, and our guys have a mindset that's very focused right now. So I don't think that will get in our way.
John, your thoughts on Raheem Morris getting the Atlanta job?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. I just lit up when you mentioned that. There's something about Raheem, his energy. I remember when Herm Edwards first brought him down, and I remember Herm telling me, he met this kid at Hofstra. Raheem was playing at Hofstra, and I think had maybe started the GA, and Herm was doing training camp there, and Herm told him if he wanted a job, show up at the track when Herm was working out at 4:15 a.m. And he said Raheem never missed, and Raheem sat right behind me in our old facility. We called it the Woodshed. It wasn't too fancy. Just got to appreciate Raheem for the the unbelievable spirit that he has, but then a real sharp football mind. He got thrown into it at a real young age down at Tampa. I thought did well, and so happy for him, as so many people in the league are. He's earned this opportunity, and I think the Falcons made a great choice. I'm real excited for Raheem Morris.
John, there was a report that Bronco Denver connections on your team. Do you guys, as you look around, during the downtime, ever spitball and talk about the old days or the Broncos?
I think we all do. From Kyle's dad to Bobby Turner to Christian, Christian. I played with his dad at Stanford. I was a quarterback throwing passes to his dad. I remember his mom at Stanford being a great soccer player. When I was there, so there's a lot of connections. There tends to be that in football, it is fun though. It's something that bonds us, really tight, and it's a good group of people.
John, there was a report that evidently some owners are disgruntled about the damn Niners getting all these comp picks.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that in breaking news?
No.
I don't know. Your response would be
develop your own, and help, give people opportunities. They might get some. So that's what I'd say. So. We try to hire the best people, and we've been fortunate and I'm thrilled for each and every one of those guys, whether they be head coaches or GMs. It's an incentive program the league came up with. It's not why we do it. We try to give great opportunities to people that are eager and want to help make us a better organization, and happy that a lot of those are minorities who've earned the opportunity. So they've done nothing but earn that, and I'm proud of each and every one of them, and proud of our organization.
John, what kind of challenge is that when you lose brain power like that?
Yeah.
You kind of have to replace and keep off the pressure.
It's not easy, but I think when you have a good idea of who you are and what you stand for, it's a little bit easier, because when people come in, they know the way, and the key is hiring good people. But it is hard. It's hard to lose really talented people. That's happened, and we've been able to kind of keep going. But it is difficult this year. You don't look forward to it. you are happy for every time that someone from our place earns an opportunity, and wish them the best. And, it just feels like we're always playing against our people. That's the tough part.
John, in about 24 hours, we'll find out whether Patrick Willis makes a Hall of Fame or not. What would it mean to have him join that club, and how deserving is he?
Matt, fantastic football player, fantastic human being. Played it the right way. Exuded leadership, exuded kind of what an inside linebacker should be to me. Physicality, athleticism. Just played it with a passion that I think was unique. You could tell his teammates responded, the crowd responded to the way he played. Every time Patrick's around, I ask him to come around more, because our players really, he's got a special way about him that inspires people. And so I think Patrick's deserving. I hope it's his day. If so, there are going to be a lot of people, a lot of the faithful, and a lot of people on this team who come to know him that are going to be real happy for Patrick.
You mentioned the importance of versatility, different positions. Like, has working with Kyle kind of changed your view on the linebacker position in particular? Just being able to have guys that, as that offense, that system gets more widespread around the league, exploits those positions?
Yeah, I think we go back to when we were all putting it together, and Robert Saleh, probably his background was as a linebacker coach, so kind of, and we had those Seattle guys as a blueprint, so kind of what we're looking for, and then you stumble upon your own, and you kind of make it your own as you make your defense your own. And at one point we went after Reuben Foster, and then there was this guy who didn't have dreadlocks back then, named Fred Warner, who came from BYU, a converted kind of hybrid. Man, now Fred's the standard. And then you go get a guy, Dre Greenlaw, another Senior Bowl, that we both saw those guys at the Senior Bowl. And Dre's been a fantastic player. We're really fortunate to have great linebackers. I think the one consistent with that, those guys are coached well. Johnny Holland's been here from the beginning. I mean, when you think about it, D'Amico Ryans was the assistant linebacker coach. Those guys have been coached well, and they know it. And but I give them so much credit, because they're some of our hardest workers. Reminds me a lot of those guys do. A guy I played with, one of the greats of all time, Derek Brooks. The elements to their game that remind me a lot of Derek, and Derek will tell you the same thing. So proud to have those guys.
John, you experienced
it.
it.
Maintain the culture of character in the locker room. Early in your guys' tenure here, there weren't many wins. There wasn't complaining in the locker room. There wasn't infighting.
Yeah.
Now that everybody has won a lot, people have been paid, guys have become stars, there's not fighting over the football or anything like that.
Yeah.
How's that kind of continuity you've been able to maintain that?
Well, I think, we talk a lot about when we're in drafting, when we're in free agency, when we try to trade for players or look to improve our team. We talk about a couple categories, talent, but then spirit probably or more important. And our misses probably have been more on the spirit side. We got a pretty good idea, because we've had some continuity together as a coaching staff and personnel staff. We got a good idea of what we're looking for. When we've missed, it's probably been you try to make an exception about, we've got a pretty strong locker room. So I think it's an emphasis of ours. We know what we're looking for. We've got a bunch of core values and things we're looking for in a guy's spirit. Things like, you got to love this game. This game's hard. I did it for a long time. I know there's nothing easy about it. So you better love it, and you better find guys that love it. When you do that, we think that's contagious. And so that goes a long way. You need guys that are dependable. There's so many things, and that's a part of every discussion we have when we're talking about adding a player to the mix. And, you can deviate from time to time, but it's usually not going to end up well. So we've gotten better at not doing that.
How do you define spirit?
I think the spirit, and probably the intangibles, the things that, but those are so critical to a team. And when you get a bunch of guys like that, you have the character, you have the grit. A lot of people have buzzwords to define it, but you can see it, you can feel it, and it's pretty palpable. And we got a lot of guys who fit that mold.
John, you experienced it.
Oh, man, he's a special guy. I think Brock's got, I always find it interesting when and there's a lot of great players, they mix confidence that's kind of unparalleled with the humility as well, to be one of the guys, to accept roles. And I think Brock's got leadership in that. To me, leaders make everyone around them better. Brock's got that ability. He's got a poise and a calmness Brock's got a lot of faith in his life. I think it shows in the way he plays the game. Probably that confidence and that humility that I talked about. So you could go on and on with the intangibles that Brock has, and it's what made him such a success in his short time in the league.
So, in your experience as a player, what does winning a Super Bowl do for the perception of a player or a coach? How does it just change how people view?
I don't focus a lot on the perception. I choose to focus more on the reality, and I know what it does. It's something people, and there's certain things that are old adages or cliches, but I do know that when I talk to Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber and Warren Sapp, that's something that they can never take, that group, so that's real. That's not a perception. That's something that they can never take from that group, and that's something special. So it's what you strive for. It's what you play for if your mind's right in this league, and we got that opportunity.
John,
I heard you say before that you can't keep everybody in a salary cap league. Yeah. How have you guys kept so many big stars in a salary cap league?
When you get a lot of good players, it gets harder and harder, and so there's challenges each and every year. You got to try to make value judgments. That's why the draft is typically, it should be your lifeblood of who you are, because those players are cheaper. I don't like talking to players like that, but that's just the reality of how our league's set up. So you better be good at drafting and have a number of hits there. It's not the only way. We try to acquire any means necessary, but I think the key there is you better be good at drafting, because if you're just trying to go get free agents every year, it's not sustainable. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Thank you. You put together a lot of special rosters. What's the defining characteristic of this 2020 group?
Yeah. I think that's still unwritten, but to me, a lot the spirit I was just talking about. I think this group, it's obviously very talented group, probably as talented a group as I've seen assembled, like just the way they complement each other and everything, but they do have a special spirit evidenced in the last couple of weeks. Those games haven't gone like we would have written a script, coming out fast and all that. It hasn't, we've been tested, but their resilience has paid off. Their belief has paid off. And so I think that's what I think about most. There's a lot of great leadership on this team, a lot of love for each other, and that's what I think about when I think of this group.
John, what have you shared with I'm sure you'll love this question, but the last 6 minutes of the Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs, where did you watch that from, and what are your memories from that experience?
Yeah, I watched it from down on the field. The NFL security came and got me, and just kind of went down. That's they told you they needed you down there, so not a good memory. The one that got away. So that's the memory there.
John, what have you shared with the group about what it takes to win a Super Bowl based on your own experience?
Well, I think what I've been able to, whether it be individually or if I've had an opportunity to speak to the team, it's just the opportunity at hand. And you try to give, from doing it when I played, from doing it here, you're going to not look back and say, man, I wish I would have gone out more in Vegas. You're going to look back and, this is the time to dial in. Steve Young said it well, no FOMO here. This is all about the opportunity at hand. And I think our guys have done a really good job of that, being really focused on the challenge, on the opportunity. And it's rare. It's hard to get here, so you want to make the most of it.
Can I ask you a follow-up on Brock?